It was 30 minutes of footy at the MCG, which changed the course of Friday night's round 8 opener, and maybe, just maybe, changed the direction of this AFL season. 8 goals to 1 in a sparkling third term. In all, 13 second half goals to just 2. It was a Geelong onslaught, and it floored the defending premier. Richmond looked rudderless, like they haven't looked for years. And maybe the Cats showed, with Jeremy Cameron fit and firing in the hoops, they're ready to take the next step in 2021. Hello and welcome to On the Couch. The Cats were the big winners of round 8, but so too were the Demons, the Saints and the Lions. So it means I've got a trifecta of happy big dogs. Welcome to you, gentlemen.
Jared, it was a fantastic Friday night, and the rest of the round rolled on, boys. But I mean, this nonsense where people want to, in the early part of a season, nominate. Only 3 can win it. It's down to 4. Just put that aside and enjoy what we've got unfolding in front of us, boys. And Geelong on Friday night just went whack, put us back in contention. If you just started to leave us out, we're back in it.
Has it ever been like this, though? In terms of the variety of teams, the spread of teams that can actually go ahead and win it?
Maybe not, but that's great, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome for us. Yeah. This is what we crave as football scribes, the ability to dissect it every week and have almost a shifting landscape every week.
The product's better. I think it's easier to watch this
Much
year, the
better.
footy. So no matter who you barrack for, it's nice going to the footy. It was great to be at the MCG on Friday night live and see it.
Rui, you are the barometer of faith in Richmond, and I'm wondering whether it's a little bit shaken tonight, given that they've lost Shai Bolton and, Daniel Rioli and Shai Bolton involved in an incident in a nightclub. But it just adds to this view that there's a bit of a crumble going on, despite the fact that they had a big win 2 weeks ago. But Cochin, Lambert, Prestia, Edwards, and now Bolton all out. Are you starting to worry?
It's horrendous timing in terms of fitness and availability, because they're stretched at the moment, the Richmond Football Club. There will be some people out there that want to make a link between what's happened to Rioli and Bolton on Saturday night and a crumbling, as you put it, of culture, of hunger and humbleness and all of those sort of things.
Last year, though, didn't it?
Which I think is complete garbage.
I don't get a sense that people are going to go down that path.
You don't think people will?
No, I don't.
People did it last year.
Yeah, I mean, but look, again, we don't know all the details. We'll hear from Damien Hardwick in a moment, but I mean, this is easily explained.
Yeah, well, I think so, and I disagree. I think some people want to make that.
Well, you think that they're taking their eye off the ball because some people boys have been out for a beer the first time in 5 weeks.
Yeah, some people will say that.
Well,
and they'll be wrong. They'll be wrong because players in this situation. I mean, we know players are targeted when they're out. So I think it's completely unrelated what's happened on the weekend, but the timing is poor because there are a few cracks appearing that we haven't seen before, which we'll get into.
Well, let's address the issue of Shai Bolton and Daniel Rioli, and we can hear from Damien Hardwick. Coach of the Tigers is on 360 half an hour ago.
But I suppose from our point of view, a player's partner was put in an inappropriate situation that she didn't feel comfortable with, and Daniel stood up and, tried to eradicate the situation, was punched in the eye, and, once again, I don't condone violence, but the reality is, put anyone in that situation, they're going to stand up for their partner and their mates, and, Shay was the same. So, look, it was a difficult situation. It's not one ideally we want to be in, but the reality is we are where we are. But the situation is the players are entitled to live a life, but the fact of the matter is they're different. They've got to sort of, they're really in a bubble in a way. They've got to be careful about where they go, and, once again, it's another reminder about these situations can occur if they go out.
So the Tigers are supporting their players, Gary, but the reality is they've lost one of their guns in Bolton. Talk about the highs and the lows of football. Friday night he's taken one of the greatest marks of all time, and now he's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a crack in his wrist.
Yeah, this was just, we were at the ground, we watched this, and it was just an extraordinary thing to see. He's been threatening to do this for weeks. He's a wonderful player. He was nearly their best player again, on the night. So all we do is take the word of what's taken place, right? And until such time as that can be proven wrong, I think we all are accepting of that. Support your partner. Someone swings at your mate. So we have, but there's a little caveat on it. We've heard that from footy clubs before, and in time proven not to be the case. Right now, I'm accepting of it's great. What we're seeing here with Richard, I think it's reasonable to ponder that the era might be coming to an end.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And it's just as reasonable to know that you're going to be horribly embarrassed by them when it's not. And that's where we're at. And that's not sitting on the fence, that's not having $1 each way. That's where it's at. History is against this footy club as well. So all these things are conspiring to make those that aren't Richmond feel like they've got a chance, which I think makes the competition good.
So right on the edge or reasonable to ponder it, which fair enough, absolutely, just sheer time they've been up. But I think last year they proved with off-field issues that they were able to overcome.
No, 100%. They did.
The trouble is this year, it's the on-field stuff. In a variety of ways. You know, in different manners they're getting beaten and showing up in the footy field that I just don't think we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years, apart from that shocker in the prelim in 2018.
Yeah, I think everyone's entitled to have a bad game, and they had a bad half, Rui. But the issue is where can they launch an assault from? They've got Giants and Brisbane coming up. They've got a lot of outs. They've got to somehow just hang on to that 50-50 ratio.
Is that about half of footy, though, Jared? Like, you look at those results. That's more than a bad half of football, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. I still think context is important for Richmond at the moment, so that we know the really key outs that they've got with senior players, experienced players that know the system so well. Damien Hardwick, he goes on ad nauseum about the fact that they are a system-based team, Richmond. So don't worry about individual personnel. It's how the personnel fit into the system. And when you've got the injuries that you do, and the players that are now coming in are the likes of Mansell, Collier Dawkins, Naish, Arts, Ross, players that aren't used to playing the system. We know in team defence, and if you look at the defensive issues in particular here from Richmond, that's where it's really manifesting. It only takes one player in a team defence system to break the whole thing down. When you've got 4 or 5 in there that haven't played the system that much, I think that's really important context to overlay across everything.
But a lot of systems rely on midfield pressure. And when you take Koch and Lambert, Prestia, Edwards and Bolton out, I mean, you are going to put your defence under incredible pressure.
That's the whole point.
Absolutely. It is troubling, though, the way teams have been able to move from end to end this year. You know, we saw those defensive 50 stats before, and Geelong did it again on the weekend. Dimmer said before, 8 goals from defensive 50, which is just a horrible number. This is just one example, just to simplify it, and this happened several times throughout the night. You know, yes, they were able to keep the ball moving, ball speed, but look at this, the man on the mark. Tigers are the best team at exploiting the man on the mark now. That's been taken out of their hands. So teams have been able to move the ball. I wonder if that's having an impact. So that is concerning for me. They're the second worst team in the competition about defending that ball movement from end to end. You know, and that's North Melbourne who've really struggled this year. So to me, that's not a premiership team.
But there were some errors that were very non-Richmond-like.
But there's different ways of moving that ball, isn't there? And I think what we saw on Friday night was a suspicion, really, that this Geelong Footy Club looked at it and said, well, there is a way through, and that's to go straight through here. And when it worked really well and it was effective. And early on, though, the heat, the pressure was what we've seen it.
Yeah, and the way they moved it at times, Geelong, was contradictory. They were allowed, Brownie, to move the ball with probably greater reason they have in the past, just because of a few of those lapses.
Yeah, there was just a few lapses. I don't think we've seen a hell of a lot of this, really. Just a couple of the lapses we see out there. So one of these, you know, Cam Guthrie, he's obviously going to roll back or roll into the forward line with this kick. So, you know, that's just too easy. And Nick Vlosten just wasn't in the right position there. If you have a look at Vlosten's not even watching the footy. So he didn't even know where the stoppage is going on. The play's going on. He only just turns his back. Now, he should have been able to block that leading lane then. And then this is a simple one. No ruckman. You know, no ruckman to go against split halves. So obviously they can't compete against that. He just grabs it, kicks it forward, takes an easy mark inside 50. These sort of little things just adding up, guys. It's a watch. Yeah, not writing them off, it's a watch.
And we'll get to Geelong. If you're sitting there and you're a Geelong supporter sitting going, hang on a minute, I think Geelong had a fair bit to do with Friday night, by the way.
They did, absolutely.
We're going to laud them in a moment. But, I mean, these lapses will happen. And again, I'm a great believer in history. It's about mindset. It's getting through a team, like as Hardwick has said, from a tackling point of view. It's about mindset.